The next year they wanted $100 to do the same simple thing in Excel. And I was like, out of pettiness, I learned Excel because I was like, I'm not paying you $100. And I was like, well, I'm really enjoying this. I started looking for, Googling around, YouTubing careers that involve spreadsheets. I had no idea data analysis was even a thing. I didn't know it existed. But I would tell myself that the bar is a lot lower than I think. After high school, I've worked kind of every kind of job. I worked at a fast food restaurant for a while. I worked in construction, auto shop. I did state inspections for a little bit. Before the pandemic, I was at a warehouse for about 3 years. And there is where I got kind of my first exposure to like Excel and stuff like that. And so I started using it. I started having my own personal use cases for it. And funny enough, I don't know if I've told this story. On Fiverr, I used to pay somebody, this was before LLMs were a thing. You used to have to pay people when you didn't know something to do something for me in something simple, like a column of like my personal expenses or something. And they charged me like $20 one year to do it easy enough. The next year they wanted $100 to do the same simple thing in Excel. And I was like, out of pettiness, I learned Excel because I was like, I'm not paying you $100. It was when COVID hit, I got let go from the warehouse job. And I was like, well, I'm really enjoying this spreadsheet thing. I finished the course. I started looking for, Googling around, YouTubing careers that involve spreadsheets. I had no idea data analysis was even a thing. I didn't know it existed. And it was around that time that I kind of learned what data analysis was. And I kind of got into self-teaching. I think I just found some course on data science. This is before the proliferation of everybody having a data analytics course on Udemy and Coursera. This was like, there was one course and it was data science by IBM and it was on Coursera. And I was just like, close enough. And I dove into that. First even got me understanding the value of data was when I was still working at the warehouse. I was friends with the manager there who kind of would tell me kind of what their leadership was having, kind of all the high level people at the company focus on, talk about. And one of those things was a book called EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. And one of the concepts they explained was that of the scorecard and using a scorecard to measure the sort of effectiveness of a business and the people within it. Once I heard of the concept of a scorecard, it made perfect sense to me why you would track data and you would want to know, right? Because it's like the vital signs. Another book was the Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. And in Outliers, he talks about certain birthdays, depending on when you have a birthday in the year, coinciding with your outcome in sports. Also talking about, the reason people like all the great tech founders were successful, they were all kind of born in the same kind of pocket, a band of years, where there was access to computers, but that industry hadn't taken off yet. And then beyond that, there's a podcast called How I Built This, where they interview founders of pretty much every big company. The Container Store founder talked about when Amazon first kind of started to really gain some traction, they noticed in their sales data that purchases of small containers pretty much hit nobody was driving more than 3 to 5 miles to their store to buy a small container. And of the people who were, that overall number shrank because people were just going through Amazon. They're like, it's a $2 container. I'm not leaving my house for it. And that's something that you can quickly identify a trend and make a pivot in a business. And it's like hugely consequential. Everybody is really pressed for time. Everybody has a million things that they're doing. And so it's balancing how much information I need to get from a stakeholder to deliver them something and making sure I really understand what they need. Because I could go build you could message me today and say, I need to pull sales for these products from this year to this year. And that's your whole request. And I could either just take that and go do it and then give it to you, but that might not help you get the answer you need. By the same token, I could go build you this whole fancy dashboard that you might open and get overwhelmed and go, I have 5-8 meetings today. I don't have time to look at your dashboard and learn how to use it. And so it's how many follow-up questions, how many calls is the sweet spot? How do I get just enough information out of you to make your life easier? If I'm a sole proprietor and I'm running some meta ads and I'm providing a service as one guy, I would try to not have any stack if I can help it. I would do an export of my meta ads data and dump it into Claude and just tell it to tell me how my ads are performing. Or I would record, like if I'm trying to gain traction through organic content, I would find a spreadsheet I can manually enter data into, and I would dump that into Claude and say, what platform did better for me this week? This was my posting plan. You visualize it and throw it away, rather than spend a week building a dashboard that I'm going to look at once. If I'm, now an established company and I'm starting to build a team, I'm a big buy over build person. Whatever business intelligence tool my team is most familiar with for BI. If we even need BI, we can't just do it in Excel. Again, the minimum viable, like the least work we can do to get to an answer and move on. A reliable data pipeline means that somebody has gone through it with a fine-tooth comb and can articulate end to end what is happening at each step. Because a lot of times a field in a source system will say one thing and be not used at all or used for a totally different thing. Or a workflow will be laid out very linearly in a training you're watching on. But in reality, people on the ground are moving things from status A to status G instead of going sequentially because they want to skip steps. And all those little nuances, you have to be able to understand them as well as the people who are working with the data that you're reporting on. The biggest things I see is not necessarily, it's data governance more than it is data quality, which is agreeing on definitions. But one of the first questions everybody should be asking is, what do you mean by a lost customer? Did they haven't purchased in 2 months? They haven't purchased in a year? And the second thing would be, almost once things get too complicated to explain to a stakeholder, they lose trust in you. And once they don't trust it, then they don't trust you, and then they go around you, and you have shadow IT, and everybody has a different definition. It exacerbates the problem that have been established. And we love to talk about best practices at conferences, but I think what happens is that it's a resource and constraint problem of we just have too many things we're being asked to do. And it's hard to articulate the ROI of not having something to physically show the business all the time while we're working on observability and CI/CD and all these other things. It's having leadership that's willing to make the investment in long-term quality, because quality is it's like plumbing. You don't know it's even there until it breaks, and then all of a sudden people start saying, we need to invest in data quality once the data quality is messed up. So I would say that's the biggest thing. The prerequisites are for AI working depends on the AI use case. Biggest thing that I would love to see is either the technical people on a team obtaining some more business skills, or there being a translation layer. And a lot of the talk I see online is about solutions that are looking for problems, and I think we should start with problems and then back into solutions. And sometimes those will be AI, sometimes those will just be deterministic automation. We've had deterministic automation for way longer than we've had AI. And oftentimes that's more reliable results for less effort than trying to get an agent to do something just because you want to say you deployed an agent. The easy low hanging fruit is to use AI to speed up. I have a very specific syntax issue, but nobody's written the exact 10 lines of Python code I'm trying to fix. Now I can just ask AI, this is the function, this is the error, and it can reply to me in half a second. And then I can also reply to it and say, but okay, cool, that's the fix. Explain why that's the fix. And in 5 minutes, I've delivered 60 minutes of value, And so I can move a lot faster and still upskill along the way without having to do all this rigorous sort of online research and lose a day of progress to fix one bug. It's almost like an intern at some point, once you have enough expertise to know where to guide it. People that are using it to do full build outs of data warehouses, I think the people that are able to leverage it the best have deep expertise pre-AI that they can use to direct it. The bar is a lot lower than I think. I think the standard I held myself to and hold myself to in terms of how well I should know and understand things, and maybe how qualified I am for things, has been a lot higher than I've realized in reality gets you in the door, and what the average competence level is in a lot of places. I think that people who are willing to do boring stuff like read books still, and go back and read a lot of the fundamental texts and sit and scratch their head for hours and try to actually learn from first principles how to do things. As the hype around AI continues and we hit a place where we've stopped hiring juniors, and a lot of the people coming into the field have relied mostly on AI for their thinking. People that have developed expertise, taste, and business perspective will be way more highly rewarded and in demand.